I'm Lindsay Partridge, and welcome to Horse Crazy Rants, where funny facts and opinions collide for one hella good time. So saddle up with me because we're going on a Horse Crazy Rant.
On today's Horse Crazy Rant, we're going to be taking a look at some horse show footage because I went to a hunter show the other day and people thought I was pretty crazy because I chose not to do all of the jumps in the ring. In fact, I went in and just did a jump or two and then decided to leave on my own decision, and people had not much of a clue why I would decide to do that and actually said some pretty mean things for thinking that I was pretty crazy. So I thought I would do a Horse Crazy Rant and explain what was going through my crazy mind at the time and give you a little bit of insight as to why somebody might want to put their horse first in certain situations, and it might not just be about the ribbons. So we're taking a look at some footage right now of me riding my horse Sabio in the jumper ring, and this is only a couple months ago in January. And we're competing in the 3-foot jumper division, and you can see my horse is taking me to the fence. He's bold, he's confident, he's going forward. There's no head tossing, there's no opening of the mouth, and that's because he doesn't have a bit in his mouth. And you can see even with some tight turns, there's still no head tossing. He's still focused, he's up over the fences and really committed to the job. He knows what he's doing. And so I wanted to try riding in a bit, and to do that was because I'm going to be going to a clinic in a couple weeks where they might ask me to ride in a bit. And we don't have an indoor arena at home, so typically we ride outside or just at shows when we're going off-site. And the footing just in the last few days has really turned to be really icky, so I haven't had the opportunity to ride him at home in a bit to give it a try over jumps. Just with it turning into spring, it's either frozen or it's really muddy. So I decided, well, my only option is to take him to a show. And there's no schooling shows on right now. There was just a Trillium show, and another student was going to it. So I thought, well, I might as well take my horse and go there. Not really ideal for a schooling opportunity, but better than nothing, and an opportunity to ride my horse in a bit, go over some jumps on some nice safe footing, and just to give him a shot and see how it would go. So in the warm-up ring, you can see opening his mouth a little bit. And then this was our first jump coming into the ring, and you can see he was just sort of sucking back, not really forward focused on his job, and just opening his mouth and not happy. We're sort of disorganized there. So now I'm going to regroup, and you can see he didn't have his pace or anything. He's tossing his head still, opening his mouth. So I do a circle to try to get my rhythm and my balance back. I'm not trying to force him at the fence. And look at the fence, and he still puts on the brakes. And this is really, really unusual for my horse. He's usually incredibly honest, usually takes me to the fence and takes me up and over. So I'm not going to smack my horse and tell him he's a bad horse because he knows how to jump. He knows his job. He's just stressed because something new is going on. And you can't see from the footage here, but he's also got a nervous sweat going on. You can see he's doing a lot of rooting with his mouth. He's just saying, "Get the heck this stupid bit out of my mouth. I don't understand why I have to wear it." And he's just not focused. So I'm just trying to help get him calm and relaxed. And if I were to beat him or punish him or crop him, that wouldn't relax him. That would just get him more fired up. And you can see even though he did the jump for me there, he's still tossing his head at me and opening his mouth, and he's just not happy. And my hands are generally pretty soft. I'm not a perfect rider, but I'm definitely not a rough rider with my hands. And he's still opening his mouth even though the contact's really soft, and the bit that he's got in his mouth is just a nice egg butt French link. It's not super thin, there's no chain or anything. It's definitely not a harsh bit. So coming into the next course here, you can see I start with a nice courtesy circle up at the top, and he's already tossing his head just coming in, and he's sort of sucking back and not wanting to go forward, and so we end up popping up over the fence. So then my thoughts as a rider going in are thinking, my first fence wasn't great. So really for my horse's training perspective, I should really retake that fence. So instead of asking him to jump the next one and carry on, I just decide to transition down to walk. And instead I'm just going to show him this next fence. So then I can ask the judge if I can retake the first fence. And I'm doing this just for my own horse's confidence and trying to relax him and help him do better. So I get permission from the judge to retake the first fence, and then off I go to pick up my transition and head to that first fence again. Long runs, not just how can I get around the course of jumps, but how can I make this horse a better partner. So you can see we head into the first fence again, and it was better than the first time, but he was still tossing his head coming in and wasn't really coming into his spot. He was spending too much time sort of fighting with me to really focus on what we were supposed to do, and sort of disorganized coming down as well. And just see lots of head tossing, not really happy with what's going on there. And you can see I'm just trying to circle him and just try to relax him before we transition to walk, and then I give him a nice loose rein. So his confidence is building. So you can see here we're up over the first fence, no problem. He's still opening his mouth a lot. You can see as we're coming around the turn, I'm not doing anything big with my body, and he's just tossing his head. Up over the second fence, no problem, but again, tossing his head. So instead of continuing on the course, I just decide, you know what? I'm not here for the ribbons. I'm not here for the points. So I'm just going to ride a nice happy circle and try to make this a positive experience. And then I ended up taking him in the hat classes, which is just walk, trot, canter, where he got to just ride in the ring with the bit, just doing walk, trot, canter and no jumps. That way I can make it a good experience for him. And it really wasn't about the points, because I don't have an interest in showing Trillium hunters. I'm really just a jumper that was there to try riding in their indoor arena. So hope you can understand why I did only a few jumps.